There's a secret worldwide game happening right now, where teams compete to capture territory on a global map. They do this by driving around using portable wireless scanners to map the invisible radio signals around us. A hobby known as Wardriving has been turned into a competitive game with bounties, minigames, Easter eggs, achievements, and global leaderboards. And you can join in as well. This is Watch Dogs Go Wars. Let's dive straight into this interesting online game, and later I'll explain how it works and how you can join in. Go to wdgwars.pl to access Watch Dogs Go Wars. Once you've created a user and logged in, you will see the world map and all the captured territories. Each captured cell is about 2 by 2 kilometers and is color-coded to match the current team holding this cell. I'm on Team Blackwire Militia. By clicking the cells, you can get more information about the team and the location. Capturing cells is done by doing Wardriving, which is basically just scanning what wireless networks are in an area. If your team has captured a cell, another team might come by and scan this area, making the cell theirs. Returning and rescanning the same networks reinforces your claim on that territory, making it harder for another team to steal it. However, if a cell hasn't been scanned by the owner team for several months, it weakens and becomes much easier for competing teams to capture again. As you scan more and more networks, your ranking on the leaderboard increases, and you unlock achievements. Suddenly, your daily commute isn't just a drive to work anymore, it's an opportunity to defend your territory or steal a few cells from a rival team. You also gain coins that so far can be used to buy access to intel about the number of reinforced networks in a specific cell that might help you capture it. You can also get coins from completing bounties for specific areas put up by team leaders. The site also has various minigames that pop up occasionally, and completing these gives you certain advantages in the game. Besides Wi-Fi access points, you can also submit location logs of Bluetooth devices, as well as airplane ADSB packets and even mesh network locations, all adding towards your leaderboard ranking and cell captures. Finding new previously unknown flock camera locations also adds points on a separate leaderboard. Keep in mind that we're not doing anything malicious or illegal here. We are only listening for the beacon packets that Wi-Fi access points and Bluetooth devices already broadcast publicly. We are not connecting to networks or intercepting private traffic. So what does Wardriving actually mean? I got into Wardriving back when I was a teenager in the early 2000s. Wi-Fi was still fairly new, and many people left their networks completely open. I'd ride around on my bike with a laptop in my backpack, which had a Wi-Fi adapter and a GPS receiver connected, just to see how many networks I could map. This is called Wardriving. Today, almost all Wi-Fi networks use basically unbreakable encryption. Although a malicious actor doesn't necessarily need to break the encryption if they can guess your password. I've made another video about why you need to pick a strong password for a Wi-Fi network and how hackers can break into your network if you don't. But it's still possible to log the location of Wi-Fi networks around you, and simply knowing where Wi-Fi networks are located can still be incredibly useful. Surprisingly, companies like Google also perform Wardriving. Google used to collect Wi-Fi data with Street View cars, but today most of that database is built from Android devices that passively scan nearby networks. That database helps phones estimate their location much faster before GPS fix is available. There's a community-driven public database called wiggle.net. The data on this site is all user-submitted, and you can likely already find your own Wi-Fi network in this database. This is also why you need to be careful about sharing your Wi-Fi information online, because it can be used to track down your physical location. Malicious actors gaining access to a device can also use this information to figure out where the device is located in the world. But Wiggle.net is primarily used by hobbyists, researchers, and security professionals to map wireless networks and study the growth of Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. When playing Watch Dogs Go Wars, you can only see the specific network location data that you have scanned yourself, not that of other users, and other users cannot see your scans. They can only see the 2x2 kilometer cells on the map and what team currently holds these. So let's get into what hardware you need to start Wardriving. You might already have everything you need. To get started, you need a device with Wi-Fi capabilities and a GPS. The simplest option is using an Android phone running the Wiggle.net app. Using this app, you can do Wardriving right from your phone and even upload the results directly to Wiggle.net. But you can also export a .csv file, which can be uploaded to the Watch Dogs Go Wars website. You could also use a laptop running software such as Kismet, but it's a bit cumbersome to carry around. It could also be a smaller CyberDeck computer like a U-console, especially if you combine it with the AIO board that adds SDR, LoRa, GPS and more capabilities. And this is actually the original inspiration for the developer when he first made the cool-looking Watch Dogs Go RPG game for the U-console, which was later morphed into the online Wars game for Wardriving. But there were also a bunch of dedicated devices that can be used for Wardriving with some added benefits. Most ESP32 devices can, when coupled with a GPS, run various kinds of firmware that will allow you to do Wardriving. This can be some ESP32 modules for Flipper Zero, or devices like the M5 stack Card Pewter, or even something like the Liligo T LoRa Pager, running various firmwares like Marauder, Bruce, Evil M5, Porkchop, or similar. ESP32 is a common type of cheap, tiny, easily programmable microcontroller that happens to also have a built-in Wi-Fi and Bluetooth capability. But be aware that most of them can only do 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi. So you really want to get a device that has one of the newer ESP32 C5 chips, which also does 5 GHz Wi-Fi. Otherwise you will be missing out on a bunch of networks when doing Wardriving. For instance, this is a dual C5 Flipper Zero module sent to me by AWOC Dynamics, which has a couple of ESP32 C5 modules and a GPS built in, and it runs Marauder. By plugging in a battery backpack, it can also be used standalone without having to flop around on the top of your Flipper Zero. I've mostly been using this Marauder V8 that Just Call Me Coco sent me. This does have a C5 module inside and thus supports 5 GHz Wi-Fi as well. This is an early version, so it might look a bit different inside than the one you'll be getting now. I've changed out the GPS antenna on mine, but the new one should have a much better internal one, or you can use an external. It comes with the Marauder firmware installed, and the latest version has an improved Wardriving interface. You just have to add an SD card for saving your data. There are a couple of advantages to using a device like this one. First of all, if you're using an external Wi-Fi antenna, it'll be much more sensitive. It also has a much longer battery life than a laptop or a phone. Having a dedicated device also makes it easier to set it and forget it without having to fiddle with apps and software. It boots up fast, runs very stable, and can log huge amounts of networks without breaking a sweat, while showing you stats of your progress on the display. One disadvantage is that the way you exit Wardriving is by simply pressing the screen, which happens easily by accident if you're carrying it in a pocket or bag. So I've 3D printed this cover to prevent that. It has a built-in MagSafe magnet ring in the back, but I'm not sure if something is wrong with mine because it won't stick to the MagSafe charger in my car. So I've 3D printed a car mount instead. Just Call Me Coco actually also has a dedicated Wardriving device available, which can even upload your results directly from the device. Another good option is the Biscuit Pro, which is a little screenless puck that is controlled through an app and does a bunch of different Wi-Fi analysis stuff, including Wardriving. Regardless of which device you decide to use, eventually you'll end up with a .csv file saved to the SD card, which you can then go to the Watch Dogs Go Wars website and upload. It then takes a while to process the data before you can see your newly captured sectors on the map, so have a bit of patience. Most of these devices do more than just Wardriving, such as various analysis and testing. I'm not going to cover those features in this video, and while they can be helpful to learn about how Wi-Fi works and how to secure your own network, those features can also be harmful, sometimes even unintentionally. So please do not use features you do not understand, and only test networks you have permission to test. This is mostly a driving game though, since walking around won't make you cover many of the 2x2 kilometer sectors. But once you get started, you really want to get out there and catch them all. So let's get more people joining in on the fun. I hope I've given you a small insight into what Wardriving is all about.